Welcome back, blade lovers. OG Blade Reviews with you once again. Hello, hello. I've got something new that Tenable sent me, and this is from a good online buddy, Mr. James Lowe from Australia, meaning he is the designer. And here's what we've got. It is the Eaglestrike. It's the Tenable version. There's also a Kansept version. This one in an aluminum handle, silver anodized, with a diamond pattern, and the blade steel is good old Nitro-V. Before I show you the knife, this is what we get. A microfiber cloth, a nice fold out from Tenable, telling you about the company, not necessarily about the knife. And because this is a bar lock, aka axis lock, we have the extra Omega springs. Never broken Omega spring, but it's nice to have the backups should I need it. There's the knife. How about that for a reveal? And this is an aluminum handle, as we were saying. A very bright aluminum under the lights. Don't know if I can tone it down a little bit or not. I'm not sure. I'm going to try, but yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good to go. There's your diamond pattern, and there's your blade on this really nice bar lock. It's about a 3 3/4 inch blade. It ain't that small. It's just right for me. I like knives this size. You probably already know that. We have a basically what you'd call kind of a spear point blade with a swedge. You can see that it is fairly heavily stone washed on that Nitro-V. It is a thumb stud opener only, and I like the fact that I can drop it with using only one side of the bar lock. Very often you've got to equalize it. I know on most Benchmades, I couldn't pull back just one side. I had to pull both. And it's on bearings. Look at that. Not only that, but watch. Watch as I knock something over as I rear my hand back. Hang on, let's try that again. So there. So with a little bit of a wrist flick, it'll open up pretty easily for you. And yet, you know, bar locks very often don't have a detent. I think they may have worked it into some, but there. It holds in pretty well. You can also use the reverse flick like that, and that's another fast way to open it. So although it's not a gravity knife per se, you could also pull back on those bar lock studs and open and close it. So whether you're using the far side with the index finger, right, or the thumb, you can open and close it. I would say it's a fidgety knife, okay? It is a fidgety knife, comes through pretty sharp. We're going to try a paper cut on it in a little bit, but let's see what we got for measurements. And I've got at least one other James Lowe knife design to show you a little later on. I wish I could have found one more that he designed by Tucson, but it was unavailable for the show. 8 1/4, going to call that 8.3 overall. And the blade, it's just a little shy of 3 3/4, call it 3.7. I think that's what they're calling it. And a 3 1/2 inch cutting edge. So pretty ample blade. What do we have for handle thickness? 0.52, fairly thin. And a thin blade stock of 0.11 in millimeters to, what does it want to be? Come on. 2.8. 2.8, we're going to call that before it changes his mind again. And finally, the weight, which I've been doing starting off in grams. There's the G for grams. And bingo, 125.9, call it 126 grams. And in ounces, 4.44 ounces. There it is. And plenty of weight relieving on the inside. See if the flashlight's handy here in my pocket. Oh yeah, plenty of weight relieving for that 4.4 ounces. And I would call these liners pretty much on the substantial thick side. It is almost completely wide open except for a pommel located backspacer. And all this stuff is, the liner's obviously steel, aluminum on the handles. I believe that's a steel backspacer. Probably adding a little bit to the weight. Got steel liner, steel backspacer. James will watch this, so in case I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Titanium clip. Okay, titanium clip. I noticed something very interesting. I don't know what bearing it has on anything, but here's the clip for my little pocket clip carry thing. Very convenient, by the way. It's how I carry the flashlight. But let's see if I can do this again. I did this on my own. May not be doing it now. This was actually magnetized. It was pulling the steel towards it. Yeah, it's not going to do it now, of course, since I got the camera rolling. But they might use a magnet as part of their production process to pick up and hold some of the parts. This seemed to be ever so slightly magnetized back here. Anyway, that's the Eaglestrike. The Eaglestrike is also out now, I think, in from Kansept in a higher end version. As you may know, Tenable is the budget line of Kansept. So these are coming in like about $60, $65 maybe. I think this one's maybe a little bit more. And there is also micarta or G10. I'll give you the link. They're a little bit less. I like the aluminum for the rigidity, although, you know, with the liners, it's not really going to matter if you've got micarta or G10 handle scales. Here's another design, a real oddball but fantastic design by James for Kaiser. This is the Huntsman, not man, Huntsman. And that is the name of a giant poisonous spider in Australia. I think it's poisonous. And these 4 holes are supposed to represent the 4 eyes that you can see on the spider. It's pretty weird and mean looking spider if you look them up. Huntsman. So this is the Huntsman. I mean, wow. And yeah, it looks like some other higher end knives, but with almost like this big horse hoof front, whatever you want to call it, this this radiused belly on the front, and this dangerous recurve in here, and the point that is created by that recurve. It's an interesting knife. Usable, yeah, if you can figure out that on the draw cut, that could be a defensive sort of a knife, or even slicing anything. And, you know, kind of an upturned point, but, you know, you decide, right? Beautifully constructed out of titanium and carbon fiber, and got a bolster lock going on there, type of frame lock. Really a cool knife. I couldn't find the Tucson. I think it's a TS459 that James designed. I couldn't find it in time, but that's another real neat one to look for under the Tucson label. This one's a little longer than the Huntsman is a little longer than the Eaglestrike. Here's a knife I've been carrying just for compare pretty regularly since it came in, PLXE by Riot. And I'm loving this knife. Just the ergos on it and the action, really, really cool. Double lock on the the pivot lock. And for further compare, Griptilian by Benchmade. It's coming in a little shorter than the Eaglestrike. And finally, the big boy here from Ontario, the Rat 1. It's about a ½ inch or so longer overall, with the blade actually just about the same. One thing you do get on the Ontario Rat 1 is a bit longer handle. Doesn't look it here, and that's a little off-center. You're right. Gotta tune that up, but I don't really carry it. Appears to always have a longer handle than blade, but in that view that I just gave you, not so much. Let's find a piece of paper here. And what do we have for a factory edge? Quite nice. Quite nice. Yeah. I wouldn't do anything to this. It's pretty sharp out of the box, and a bit of bite to it, although fairly smooth. You can see I can actually draw my finger lightly across it, and that's usually the sign of more of a polished, buffed edge that they put on at the factory. But it's shaving sharp, and the paper proves it. Might be a little bright for some of you. My only quibble with it might be that it's kind of this frosted anno, little like sparkly. I'd like something maybe a little more muted. I think they can do it. A coating in silver, I don't know about the green and some of the other colors they use for their aluminum in this model, but this has kind of it's not a cheap knife. It's a really nicely functioning, high quality budget. But this frosted silver stuff gives it kind of, the look that they put on pot metal on some, knockoff knives and whatnot. I think if they change the type of anno they're using, whatever it is, would be a little nicer. I just don't like that. Just don't like the way that the coating got applied. Could last a while, and the reason I do like the silver anode or the full silver aluminum is that you're not going to see any wear over time when that anode begins to wear off, and they all do eventually. Got a real contrasting gray blade here. And as far as billboarding goes, almost none. So there's James' logo. Very small letters. There's Eaglestrike. And in equally small letters, we have Nitro-V. And I think that's a stock number. Can barely see it. It's a real eye test for me. So again, works really well. You need a little bit of wrist to get it out there, but not bad. If you really give it a good snap with your thumb, it'll come out without any problem. I tend to use on the Axis style knives a little bit of wrist. But again, you could open it up using the bar lock. You could open it up using a wrist flick. You could open it up using a downward pointing Pical style wrist flick. So real nice fidgety knife, but the lockup on it is just superb. No blade play, no lock rock. Really nice. Well, let me know what you think about the Eaglestrike. If you wanted a higher end one, I think they're going for about $150-ish. If I'm correct, maybe up to $2. I'm not sure. On the Kansept version, which is using probably S35VN, I believe. I don't think they did 20CV on this. Pocket clip, if I didn't mention it, yes, I did mention it's titanium. It's not switchable. So that may be kind of a downside for you lefties. But there you go. Let me know what you think. You're going to see my logo right over here right now. And if you click on that, if you haven't subscribed, you can do that. and get notified every time I drop a video. Be well, take care, stay safe.